being a musician and something I wanted to get into too with Panther Power, I'm used to seeing go-go. So I grew up going to go-go concerts, seeing the performers, and even at the Capitol Center, they perform there often with especially later rap artists. So with Panther Power, you had the that sampled the Trouble Funk Drop the Bomb that a lot of other artists have used too. But do you remember for you with Tupac why that Trouble Funk record resonated with you guys so much?
Well, I was just trying to rock um, some of the different, because I love all music. I just grew up loving all music. I mean, I grew up listening to everything from Zydeco to Go Go. You know, I remember Chuck Brown and give me the bridge, y'all, give me the bridge.
Bustin' Loose.
Bustin' Loose. I
Hmm.
think I blew the tweeters out on my speakers about at least 4 times with those horns and everything. It was like incredible. But for Panther Power, it was really about finding stuff that moved, finding the grooves and stuff that were different and trying to set stuff apart. Because I remember we rocked like some Kool and Gang, Jungle Jazz, a bunch of different things. But more importantly, it was definitely about blending the different music that made the track go, along with a 17-year-old Tupac. That's funny how you brought that up, Panther Power. But yeah, it's really funny. I'm actually getting ready to do some things, I think, with those recordings, because what's happened is, Soren, is that out of all the different recordings and all the different stuff on Pac, those are his first recordings. I mean, those are the ones that led him into the group, because I spent time with him and saw, you could see in his eyes he wanted it. Like I tell people, it's like he was one of the one cats that would go, what can I do to help so I can be put on? Which is like brilliant, right? That's some Zig Ziglar shit. That's that that's that thing where you learn to make yourself of service to someone so that you can get what you want. He was brilliant and with that. And so there were elements of him that you saw that he had some additional attributes, that intangibles, that along with his ability to rap and be all that. But I always tell people I just felt like he was much more of a poet than a rapper, per se, that way, or even an MC like that. But the grooves and the loops and the samples and the ideas that went into that stuff was purely experimental and fun, and never really was meant to get beyond what we were doing. That was being a demo, But nowadays they call that bebop, not bebop. They call it with boom bap, hip
Right.
hop. And so just here we have these things that were made. I think that was in '89, so that was 35 years ago. And Tupac's still right on time. He's right. He's right on time, because sadly enough, some of the same shit is happening then that's happening now, and the message is still relevant and all. I mean, I think he even mentions Trump on one of those songs or something, And speaking of, Tupac, rest in peace, Tupac.
So that being said, knowing him before he was a star, seeing his evolution and everything that happened, why? Because Panther Power, and I would argue Tupacalypse Now, even strictly for my brothers, and after that album, I'd say it
Strictly for what?
my brothers.
Yeah, there goes that Maryland upbringing. There you go. All right.
But my question is this: why do you, knowing him and seeing him pre-fame, and people would be like, "How did you know that he was on the Fear of a Black Planet?" When I would say, because he was very distinctive looking. That's how because I recognized him later. I was like, "Dude, he was dancing." Because of course we wouldn't have known. Nobody, there was no knowledge of that. But
Right.
I was studying everything I could about that show. Believe me.
Right.
But
Right.
but my question is why Panther Power is explicitly tremendously political, etc. Why do you think that element kind of faded gradually from his music over time.
I think that what it became, and because I get irritated as hell when people try to call him a gangster rapper, all that stuff. I think, first of all, that was the trend at the time to speak up against the establishment, truth to power, truth to power, and just being confrontational. And first of all, and just him being young, and that's what to speak the truth straight up, uncut, But I don't think he ever stopped talking that shit. It just became more encrypted, and it became a little more slicker, and it became a thing that you kind of really would have to be listening. We're such a stylized society. It's like you can get away from the content because you're so busy checking out the style. But the fact of the matter is, with him, you'd have to screw the stuff, fuck the style, dig the content thing. And I just think that as things grew with him, because Brenda's got a baby, is that keep your head up, is that dear mama, while he was going through his own personal things, and it was public and all that with his mom, Fanny, and all that stuff, but that was a problem in so many people's households throughout the country. Being incarcerated, missing their mama, missing people, or whatever. The
Well,
bottom.
because I think the shift really happened with Me Against the World, where it became, yes, it's still political in nature, but it became much more internal struggle and strife as opposed to a societal thing. It was much more about his emotions.
Poet.
Ex yeah.
I think that as things continue, I believe that he just really got to express himself more from his poetic side, and the shit got deeper because quite honestly, he resonates with people like no other. I mean, don't get me wrong. When you die at the pinnacle or at the peak of your career, always has more of an impact than if you wait and turn into a has-been and die. Right? Some of they tell you some of the best things that could have happened for Jimi Hendrix was dying right then, or Jim Morrison, or Janis Joplin. But I tend to think that his poetic side is what really started to, come out as he matured and stuff like that. And Soren, excuse me, with the situation of someone like Tupac being raised in an environment of that Panther Party and all those different things, like we said, when he joined DU, he was he was getting ready to have to go to Atlanta and become the head of the new Young Black Panther Party, or come join the circus known as DU. And he wanted to join the circus. He did not want to go do that, but he basically was like almost like a revolutionary raised to lead. But when he got there was no one to lead. Everybody was incarcerated, dead, or kids will have moved on. Yeah, we wore the medallion. We wore the conscious African medallion, but that was probably the extent of it. And I keep thinking back to what you said, like in Maryland, which is not far from Chocolate City, right? All of it, D.C., Maryland, that whole DMV thing is chances are where the folks stayed for the show and got the message because, the message rings strong and rings true in those places that are really blended with, are really Black. I mean, are African American